just hit my microphone.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was embarrassing. Welcome back to Bastapod. I don't know why that was so aggressive. I have some unfortunate news for you guys. Unfortunately, Luke has died from a stroke trying to read Harry Potter. I can't even remember which book, but they said in the coroner's report that he just couldn't take it. They said it was too many words and his brain just went pop. And so unfortunately, you know, the co-host that we've had for a whole 2 episodes is dead. He's gone. Rest in peace, my boy. But anyways, we have a we have a guest on the show today, Miss Hi Fluffy. If you want to introduce yourself to everybody, tell them what you do.
Hello, formerly known as Hi Fluffy. I'm now known as Fluffy Bud Novell. Doing a lot of creative shit, writing, animating, drawing, shit like that, and streaming. I'm not gonna plug my shit though. I'm not that much of a whore. But hey,
I'll plug it for you. Okay. I'll plug it for you. Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't know about the name change. Okay. That was on me. But yes, this is we have a good story today. I hope it's a good story.
Same.
So I did a little research before we started recording, and on the creepypasta page itself, it said that under all the tags where like the editor or the author would normally be, it says anonymously authored. So I was like, I don't know, maybe I can find some more information. I looked up the Fairies creepypasta author, and it does not seem like anybody read it. I think I mean, I'm looking at one here. It says Fairies, but I don't think it's the same thing. Yeah, no, it's 2 totally different stories. So this person just, I guess, decided to write one story and just decided to fuck off, I guess. I'm entirely unsure. So this could either mean that it's really, really good or it's really, really bad. It tends to be one or the other. Very, very little in between for stories like this where the author's only posted one, or it's just been like an unknown author. That's kind of seems to be the case for a lot of these kinds of stories. But I don't know. Whenever I hear fairies, I think of like the fae folk. Yes. I don't know much about them, but I know that they're very, very traditionally mythical creatures.
So I have done some research on them because I saw a shroom circle on my way to the store not too long ago. And I was just like, oh yeah, you're not supposed to step in those, right? No, unless you want to have a very bad time.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, so the sort of superstition or the story around them is that if you see a mushroom circle, like a perfect one, basically, to walk the other way. You can linger if you want, take pictures, do not step in it, because you will be transported to a world solely dominated by fae. And none of this is verbatim. I'm just like going off the top of my head. So yeah. Don't tell them your name. Or like
I've heard that.
They'll take shit very literally. Like, hey, do you want my name? And then they'll be like, oh, okay, cool. And then you can't remember your name. So yeah, don't do that. But you also don't want to make a deal with them either. It's not like a deal with the devil type thing, but it's still not in your favor. There are very few ways that you can quote unquote outsmart them that I don't remember. But I think it's best not to fuck around and find out anyway.
I did hear from the limited information that I know about the Fae folk. I know that names are a very powerful thing with them. So I did hear about like be wary about saying your name to the Fae folk. I think there's an SCP that is a 001 proposal that actually had to do with. it had to do with the Fae folk, and apparently the Foundation just, I think they declared war on them.
Oh, fuck.
Which is insane to do. It was all over a factory that makes anomalous objects. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but I know it's a story that's based around a 001 proposal. I thought it was really cool, and it did touch upon a little bit about how the Fae folk work in terms of like their how literal they are when like they take names, like they literally take names. And I'm pretty sure, like, if I'm not mistaken, you probably, like, you can't even like say a Fae folk's actual name because it's just like that hard to pronounce, which is insane. But I don't know if this has anything to do with that. I imagine it does.
I ain't gonna lie, I would hope so.
I would hope so too. I really want to. I actually did not send you the story, so let me go ahead and do that. I really need to get better about that.
It's okay. I will say this though: if it's bad, I'll take responsibility because I chose it.
Yeah, it was either that or we're gonna do the girl the universe forgot, which is gonna be saved for another, because that's a really interesting.
I want to read that one too.
Okay. Well, we'll see. This one is a whopping, it says 29 minutes. And like I was telling our guest here, usually this, like, I try to take into account how long it actually is going to be for, like, me and whoever else is recording with me. And normally a 20-minute story is normally about, let's say, like an hour and a half. If we stop to talk about it every now and again. So this could be a longer episode. Who knows? This could be like a 2-hour episode, which is going to be great for when Sony Vegas crashes on me for the 100th fucking time. I've had 2 episodes that have just refused to render, that I've had to render in portions because one single frame fucked up the entire thing.
Jesus.
I wanted to throw my computer out the fucking window. I was so upset.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, one more thing before we start. How do you want to do this? Because normally I usually take the quotes, but I don't know how you want to do it. Because from what I gathered a little bit, there's not a lot of quotes there, and I don't know if like you wanted to just sit back and listen to it and like do the quotes, or if you wanted to do the actual narration. It's really up to you.
I'm just skimming through it now. There is quite a bit of like character dialogue, so
okay, I see. Okay, I didn't scroll down nearly enough. Okay, never mind, I was totally wrong on that. That's my bad. I mean, I don't mind taking the dialogue, or not the dialogue. Yeah, I don't mind taking the dialogue.
Go back and forth, so it can actually be like a story or something.
So you just want to like just like alternate paragraphs and dialogue altogether? Yeah.
Well, alternate dialogue with like different characters, just so it can stay somewhat consistent. But past that point, yeah, we could alternate paragraphs, or you could just stop whenever you're done reading, and I'll go.
Do you want to start off, or should I start off?
I'll start.
All right. We're finally getting into The Fairies by unknown author. Take it away.
I've always been fascinated with the unknown, particularly creatures of the unknown. I don't know when this obsession of mine started. It probably started when I was a young kid and would watch documentary series on aliens, Bigfoot, Yeti, unknown sea monsters, and the like. My obsession earned me my share of names and bullying in school. Like a good nerd, I pushed up my glasses and shook it off and moved on to college, where I earned a degree in zoology and eventually my master's and PhD. Along the way, I had discovered the gym, alcohol, women, contacts, and other things life had to offer. However, my main love was cryptozoology.
I spent 2 years of my late 20s running around the world with well-known and respected biologists, zoologists, and marine biologists looking for new species and studying others that we knew very little about. My colleagues and myself found new insects, fish, reptiles, but never anything that would fall under the strange or mythical. I made a name for myself in the science community. People like to say that I could find anything but Bigfoot. I enjoyed my small notoriety. After those exciting 2 years, I decided to work somewhere with... I'm having a stroke. My bad. After those exciting 2 years, I decided I wanted to work somewhere more traditional. While creating footprints around the world was fun, I was tired of never being in one place for more than a few weeks at a time. I also wanted to spend more time trying to research and find these storied monsters than work on someone else's expedition. I landed a job at a big state university in Ohio. Ew. Wow. Imagine being from that place. I couldn't imagine living there. Disgusting.
Oh, I hate the brain rot that popped into my head as soon as you said Ohio.
As a long living Ohioan, every time Ohio comes up anywhere, it makes me want to puke. I landed a job at a big state university in Ohio teaching in the Is this what Luke feels like? You just read that so flawlessly, and I'm over here like stroking out. Is this what Luke is like? Holy shit! Am I the Luke here?
I'm sorry.
You know what? I'm giving you the password. You can take over right quick. Okay. I'm ready.
I landed a job at a big state university in Ohio, teaching in the biology department. I also started a cryptozoology club, which attracted a large following of students. With permission from the university, I would take students to so-called haunted places, hotspots for unknown creatures and the like. We would always come up with some crazy disembodied EVP, blurry video, or grainy photo. We never had anything conclusive, but it was fun for the students and myself, and it got them to think outside the box and question what we really know about our world. The passion for trying to discover the unknown that I saw in the group's members is what kept my interest in it strong. Like I said before, my main love was cryptozoology until one faculty Christmas party. There, I met Diane. She was this beautiful brown-haired woman about my age
God. Oh, Diane. Oh, God.
Damn. I'm wondering if it went crazy or not, but we'll find out. She was this beautiful brown-haired woman about my age who worked in the English department teaching creative writing. I knew I needed to meet this woman. I wasn't a scrawny nerd from high school anymore. I was in shape, successful in my field, and not too bad looking. At least I told myself that. I used a corny pickup line to introduce myself. She had a cornier comeback. We laughed, talked the entire party, exchanged numbers, and the rest is history. A few months after we started dating, we moved in together. I had never fallen so hard for someone. We shared a lot of common interests, but had a lot of differences. I liked the outdoors, and she preferred to stay in. I was a busybody, and she was more relaxed. We both liked wine and a good book. She was a published writer who wrote these amazing stories about make-believe creatures. I read several of her short stories in one of her books, which all seemed to be centered on forest fairies and children. Diane, I said, closing her latest published book as I was sprawled out on the couch one evening. Have I told you that you are an excellent writer? Diane was in the kitchen making her famous chicken Alfredo. Yes, but you can tell me again, if you like, she playfully responded. Can I ask you a question? Where do you get your inspiration for these stories? She walked out of the kitchen, wiping her hands on a dishcloth. I get them from the stories my grandmother told me when I visited her in Canada when I was young. I sat up on the couch and she gracefully took a seat next to me. Tell me more, please, I asked inquisitively.
When I was young, Diane began, with a look of remembrance on her face. We would visit my grandmother every summer in Alberta. She lived in a town called New Village. There weren't many people there. It was a beautiful town shadowed by snow-capped peaks. There was a great big pine forest that lay between the town and the closest mountain. It was probably a few hundred acres or so. At the base of the mountain, there was this crystal clear lake that was so full of fish and that emptied into a small river. All the kids in town would play in the forest, lake, and river but were strictly forbidden from staying out past sundown. This was enforced harshly by the town's people, including my grandmother. Diane paused for a moment. "Go on," I urged her with a smile. "My grandmother would tell me about the fairies in the forest and how they like to play tricks on people. If I disobeyed my elders, they would take me away forever. Those stories always freaked me out. My parents didn't like her telling me these stories, but they agreed that I should listen to my grandmother and be inside before dark. The stories didn't bother me that much until one of the young boys I played with each summer went missing in the woods. He ran away one night into the forest after a fight with his father. They never found him, and the townspeople didn't bother looking for him until after sunrise. I just can't believe the people wouldn't go looking for a boy in the forest until the sun was up. Unless they truly believed in the fairies. The fairies in my books are mischievous, but much nicer than the ones in my grandmother's stories. They never take people away." Diane's face was now a half smile. "Kind of your thing, isn't it?" "What do you mean?" I looked at her slightly confused. "You know, imaginary creatures that live in the woods." She looked at me with a smile. I've heard and read up on fairy folklore, but it's not something that many cryptozoologists spend a vast amount of time on. However, I've never heard of a town afraid of fairies, especially from a first-hand account. It would be interesting to investigate something like that. Diane smiled, a mischievous smile that stretched from ear to ear. "Good. My parents want to meet you. And I want you to meet them. My grandmother passed away when I was young, and my parents inherited the house. They retired a few years ago. You can come with me this summer when I visit them and solve the town's fairy problem." By this point, she was standing over me, giving me the puppy eyes to agree.
Just like that, our summer plans were made, and in early June, I found myself on a plane from Ohio to Alberta with Diane, and a bag full of some of my recording equipment I took on my excursions with my student group. Once there, we picked up a rental car and drove what felt like hours into the forest-covered mountains. At one point, we left the winding highway to exit onto an even more treacherous 2-lane mountain road. 15 minutes from the highway, we arrived at what looked like a ghost town. There were several small shops that were closed and what looked like an unfinished hotel from the 60s. "This place has become a ghost town since I was a girl," Diane said as we drove past the abandoned buildings. A few short minutes later, we pulled into her parents' driveway. Her parents' house sat on the short, dead-end road of a few dozen houses. Behind her house lay the thick pine forest she had mentioned to me. In the distant background loomed a majestic snow-capped mountaintop. Her parents greeted us with smiles at the door. Diane excitedly hugged her mother and father. I, trying to hide my nerves meeting my girlfriend's parents for the first time, quickly shook their hands and introduced myself as John, the guy that was here to fix their fairy problem. They both smiled and paused before saying through their teeth, The fairy problem is under control. Come in, dinner is about ready."
My nervous attempt to be funny appeared to have become a strikeout. Dinner went well and we talked about our trip and what I did at the university. With our bellies full, Diane's father invited me onto the back porch for a beer. "So you teach cryptozoology at the university?" Diane's father asked me before taking a big swig of beer from his bottle. No, I teach animal behavior and social interaction. I would like to teach cryptozoology at some point, but I need to have the class curriculum written and approved before I can." I slouched to my porch chair and began to enjoy my beer. "I suppose Diane has told you a bunch of crazy stories about the fairies in our woods?" I looked at him and gave him a small nod as I took another sip from the bottle. "They're all true. Sounds stupid crazy, but they're all true. My wife told me those stories too, and I wouldn't have believed them if I hadn't seen some crazy stuff or experienced our neighbor's niece disappear one night 2 summers ago in the pine forest." He pointed out towards the wood line just off the backyard while taking another swig from his bottle. "We've had a drought in the last few years, and the pines were all dried up and getting brown. The forest used to be a dark green, but now it's just a sad brownish color. Diane's father finished his beer and looked up at the sky. The pines were brown and looked all dried out. Even in the setting sun, the air wasn't filled with the typical pine wood smell. In fact, the air was cool and stale. You want to see a magic trick?
No.
He asked me. He asked me exactly. He just pulls out a gun and shoots him in the leg.
No, I'm sorry. In my head, he said, "You want to see a magic trick?" The first thing I immediately thought of is Charlie saying, "He's pulling his cock out." Like, no, please don't.
He's pulling his cock out. Sure, I said, half expecting him to pull a coin from behind my ear. That is a dad thing to do, I won't lie.
It is.
Although, no, that's a thing that, like, you do to, like, children. Imagine doing that to a grown man. Like, he just, like, pulls
Funnily
the coin
enough,
from
that's
behind
still
his ear.
giving dad.
No, but it's more awkward if you're doing that to, like, an adult that you just met.
True.
Like, he pulls a coin from behind his ear. It's like, he's, like, expecting you to be impressed, and you're just like, that was really cool. Really cool, sir. Can we go back inside now? He's like, no, wait. Watch me pull a bunny from this hat.
Oh God. And then somehow a fucking top hat materializes out of thin air.
He's the entire time he's just dressed in full, like, traditional magician gear.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the mom's like, honey, you cannot wear this. This is the 6th time you've done this to one of her boyfriends. It's like, it's gonna work this time, I swear.
But honey, they like it. They always like it. Something goes wrong every time.
It's like, last time you set that poor boy's hair on fire. He's never gonna grow that back.
It's fine. It's just a buzz.
It's just a little bald spot. Nothing that some hair growth cream can't fix.
You can just call it early male pattern baldness.
It was gonna happen to him eventually.
I just helped him out. Oh, fuck.
Watch the back gate. The sun sets at about 9 p.m. today. About that time, the latch will pop up and it'll swing open. No hands, he said, waving his in the air.
Diane's parents' yard was fenced in with a single back gate, which led directly into the forest. Some of the forest pine's branches hung just over the gate. Wasn't quite sure how to take Diane's father's statement, so I waited. Sun slowly crept behind the mountains, and the clock reached 9 p.m. I finished my beer as we quietly sat on the back porch. As I was about to get up and tell Diane's father that this was the longest trick I'd ever waited for, the sound of scraping against the opposite side of the fence caught my ear. It started at the back corner of the fence. It sounded like a child was dragging a stick across its pickets as they walked by. The sound accelerated towards the gate. I was laser focused on the gate, paying no attention to Diane and her mother, who had walked out on the deck with us. Ching! Went the gate latch, and the gate swung open slowly, as if pushed softly by an invisible force. No way, I muttered to myself as I slowly began to walk off the deck towards the back gate. A strong, forceful grip pulled me back up on the deck. My head snapped around to see Diane's father gripping my arm with force. "Don't go over there," he said with a stern voice and look. I mean, but he's an adult though. If he wanna go, let him go. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, like, what's to stop the fairies from taking an adult? I figured the children are just, like, the easiest because they tend to disobey their parents.
They are pocket-sized humans. You can literally just carry one by his shirt and walk off. So, like...
But aren't fairies just, aren't fairies, like, living on another plane of existence, essentially? I don't think it would matter the size. I think anybody could just disappear.
True. But children are still easier to transport.
How do you know this?
What do you mean? You never just picked up a child?
Dude. Oh, look, all right, I'm not having a good track record here. Between Luke running over a family of 4 and you talking about just picking up children, I'm not trying to become the accidental, like, Diddy of the podcast space.
Okay. I'm not saying all of that. I'm just saying you've never just physically just grabbed him by the shirt, doesn't matter, front or back, and just, like, hoisted him off the ground. It's not that hard, unless you're, like...
I mean, I don't spend a lot of my time around a lot of children, so I can't say that I've done that very recently. Robert, let him go, Diane's mother chimed in. John, stay here. Do not go anywhere near the woods or the wood line after the sun is set. Mom, Dad, stop! Mom, Dad!
I'm sorry. You made her sound like a fucking teenager. I was not ready for that.
All right, I'll redo it. Mom, Dad, stop! Diane said, strongly pulling me away from her parents. You're embarrassing me! She turned to me and said, I'll take you into the woods tomorrow. It's fine, you'll see. Come inside. She turned and graciously stormed back into the house. Feeling awkward, I pretended to take one last drink from my beer and began to follow Diane. I feel that so much. You can go out into the woods all you want during the day, but as soon as the sun sets, you must be out, Robert said, cutting me off before I can walk inside. I stopped and looked at him. His face showed genuine concern. I glanced back at Diane's mother. Her face the same expression. Diane really likes you, John. Her mother started. We would prefer if you left with her when your visit here is done. Explore all you want, but please listen to us about the woods. Yes, please listen to Mary and me, Robert said, almost pleading. I looked down. I understand. I'll make sure to heed your warning. I brought some research equipment with me. Is it okay if I place a camera on the fence to capture this tomorrow? That'd be fine, Robert said. Just do it early when it's still light.
I agreed, and with that, I went inside, feeling a bit confused at Diane's parents' insistence on staying away from the woods after dark. Diane and I got ready for bed that night, and as I laid in bed with her head on my chest, I tired... What? Okay.
What?
I tried, typo, to piece together if her family really believed in fairies, and if their facial concern earlier was genuine. Your family really believes in the fairies, don't they? I asked Diane. She rolled over and picked up her head to face me. It's embarrassing. Not the fact that they believe in that stuff, but they're so adamant that the woods are a bad place. If I had been rebellious as a kid, I would have run off into the woods many times. They're beginning to act like my grandmother when I was a child. I don't know how my dad does that gate trick, but it's getting old. He pulled it on me 2 years ago and insists it's not him. I'll take you into the woods tomorrow. You'll see. I used to play there as a child. There's nothing wrong with it. I pulled her in tight to my body and kissed her goodnight softly. Okay, we'll go have an adventure tomorrow, I said before dozing off. The next morning, Diane took me into the pine forest after breakfast. She showed me all the things she could remember from her childhood. She showed me her favorite trails, which had become slightly overgrown. She showed me her favorite spot on the river and her favorite shore of the lake. The lake shore was littered with dead fish here and there, but strangely no rotting fish smell. That's slightly concerning.
Just a little bit. I don't know. I feel like you could just like, you could kind of like wave that off as like, oh, maybe the wind like is blowing in a certain direction to where like you can't hear or you can't smell the fish smell. But... True,
but like, okay, this is a dense forest, right?
That's what they. I mean, like they said it's a dense forest, but they say it's also dying. So like the pine trees are like kind of like withering away. Like they're all brown. Apparently there was like a drought. I think that's the reason why like some of the fish are like it just said like the fish are like, you know, sitting there kind of dead. I mean, I don't know if it's like He never specifies like the amount of decomposition that it's in, so it could just be like a fucking skeleton for all we know. But I like to imagine that since he pointed out that there's no fish smell, that it's still relatively fresh. So maybe the fish just died, and like maybe it's only been there for like 10 minutes or something like that. That could also be the case.
But I'm also sitting here like, even if the forest was dying, there would still be some animals around to eat said dead fish.
Well, that is true. And
so if there are no animals around to take care of the fish, then that's
yeah,
it's very concerning.
It smells like the fish market at Kroger.
It's a shame that they died. I remember the lake being healthy when I was young. We used to fish here as kids, she explained to me as we navigated the shores. On the lake shore was an old foundation to a building that never started. Diane said that it was supposed to be a lodge for visitors to the lake in the 60s, but it was never finished. The crumbling foundation was covered in moss and looked more like a pathetic version of Stonehenge more than anything else. It was about noon and we agreed to head back through the woods to get some lunch at her parents' house. As we walked hand in hand through the woods on trails that I was surprised she could still navigate from her childhood memories, I noticed that almost all of the pines were brown or brownish green. Their trunks were rather large, swollen even, as if stuffed with something, and most of the underbrush was dead or looked like it was dying. Diane mentioned that there had been little rain during the summer and spring of the last few years. I thought it strange that the forest would be dried out, but the river and lake didn't seem to be at low levels. At lunch, Robert brought the topic of cryptozoology and my interest in what they felt were fairies in the forest.
You should talk to Daniel Whitefeather. He's a detective in the county and lives a few houses down. He's also the last of the tribe that once lived here. He's sort of an amateur historian for the area and has plenty of stories to tell about the fairies in the woods. I'll give him a call and tell him you're coming over. Robert gave me his address, and at the encouragement of Diane, I ventured to his house that afternoon, as Diane and her mother had planned to do some shopping in the next over town. I knocked on Daniel's door, unsure if he would be home or not. The lock unlatched, and the door slowly opened to an older man with a weather-beaten face. Never heard that before. Okay.
Imagine. Sorry.
I've been through so many tornadoes, man. It's just like he looks like a character from a Junjo Ito book, where it's just like all like spiraled and shit. Mm-hmm. It's like yeah, tornado hit me.
Unfortunately, my ass is like, imagine if Mother Nature actually just came and beat the fuck out of him. I don't know why, but I just popped in my head.
He opens the door. He's just like sobbing. He's like bruises all over his face. Like, hello? The lock unlatched, and the door slowly opened to an older man with a weather-beaten face. Are you Daniel? I asked, reaching out my hand for a handshake. My name is John, and you want to know about the woods, correct? He said, cutting me off. I kind of want to give him. I know he's Indian, but I'm not going to do an accent.
First off, I want to voice him. I want to voice him, please.
You know what? You would do so much better. It would do so much better coming from you. So you know, okay. There you go.
I don't get mad at me, okay? You want to know about the woods, correct?
He said. Sorry.
He wasn't ready for it.
I was gonna give him like the Mike Ehrmantraut. You want to know about the woods, correct? Like something like that. But that voice is hilarious. I love it. He said, cutting me off.
Robert called and told me about you. Come in, please. I've got a few hours before I need to head to work to cover a night shift. I don't know why the fuck I made him a mob boss, but we're gonna keep it.
No, you sound like a Jewish man. Oy vey. Have you seen? Would you like to meet my daughter? You should come to my son's bar mitzvah.
Hey, would you like to meet my daughter? She makes the best. Oh fuck! What do they eat?
Fuck if I know.
Fuck. I'm sorry, I can't think of the most stereotypical fucking food they can eat. Never mind.
I don't know. I entered his house. It was large and filled with mounted animals, fish, and a variety of what appeared to be Native American memorabilia. He led me to his living room and motioned for me to sit. His living room walled on all sides by filing cabinets and bookshelves. There was no TV, and a thick layer of dust caked most of the flat surfaces.
So, what can I tell you?
Daniel stated slowly, taking a seat in the chair across from me. Well, whatever you know about the forest or the supposed creatures in the forest, I stated. I study unknown creatures, mythological creatures, or whatever you want to call them. And I'm familiar with fairies and folklore, but I've never encountered an entire town that seemed to fear these creatures like they supposedly do here. Daniel sat back for a moment and looked up at the ceiling, as if to pull his thoughts down through the tile.
My tribe, or rather my ancestors, was the first to settle this area. As the oral tradition goes, we were once a large and proud tribe that numbered greatly in Alberta before the... I hate you because I was fine, and then I looked over and saw you laughing. I broke.
It's just a Native American Jewish man.
I know, but I don't. I'm sorry, I don't know what they're supposed to sound like, and I made him Jewish or whatever the fuck. I'm sorry, but we're keeping it.
We gotta keep it. We gotta keep it.
All right.
All right, I gotta lock in.
As the oral tradition goes, we were once a large and I hate you because now I can't do it anymore.
It's fine. I have to move your face because you're gonna make me break. No. Okay.
As the oral tradition goes, we were once a large and proud tribe that numbered greatly in Alberta long before the white settlers came. A harsh run of winters and warning with other tribes cut our numbers down, and our enemies pushed us out of our original land. We wandered until we found this place. Cold, starved, and desperate for shelter. We felt blessed to have come across a place with good hunting, the mountains to shelter us.
I am trying so fucking hard to keep it together. I have tears in my eyes.
I can't fucking look at you.
All right, I'm gonna turn off my webcam.
Fuck.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Cold, starved, and desperate for shelter, we felt blessed to have come across a place with good hunting. The mountains to shelter us, and a river and lake to supply us with fresh water.
Oh, this would hit so hard if it wasn't a Jewish man saying it. Oh my god.
Sorry.
Oh no, that's great. Oh god. I looked at him eagerly as he took a small break to remember his words. He sat up and leaned forward in his chair. Oh god, here we go.
Shut up.
The story goes that when we found this land, we were forbidden to enter the forest by some strange creatures that lived there. My people would call them the forest walkers. They said they were guardians of the pine forest here. The chief, seeing his people starving and without a place to live, struck a deal with the forest walkers. We could hunt, fish, live here, and they would protect us as long as once every moon cycle. We agreed to give them one of our own.
Wait, I interrupted. So, like a sacrifice?
Yes. Each full moon we would send one choice person by lot into the forest. Their screams would fill the night sky. It was a horrible thing, but for us to survive, the chief made the deal, and we kept to it. Many years would pass as we sacrificed one after another of our own. Our numbers would slowly decrease over time, but those who remained while we safe had food to hunt and fresh water to drink.
And that was when a man named Adolf came and he changed everything for us.
I'm sick.
Oh my god. Daniel got up from his seat and walked over to the bookshelf and pulled out a leather-bound book whose page edges were yellowed from age. He plopped the book down in front of me on the coffee table between us. The book landed with a thud, and a dust cloud filled the air. Has he never heard of a fucking Swiffer?
No.
Like, why is there so
clearly
much
not.
dust?
But bro, if you're that fucking, you could at least spit and fucking paper towel or whatever. Like, bro, come on.
What you don't understand is my big nose has...
That's crazy.
Look, as a big nose individual, I am allowed to say it. All right, I might as well be a Jew.
That's
you know,
crazy.
that they're my people. You know, big nose brother. You know, Daniel, he's a big nose brother. All right, part of the big nose gang. Yeah, the B&Bs. That's what we're commonly referred to as.
Sick.
I think it's your turn.
It is. I'm fighting back a cough. I don't know how to do that, but
Sorry. I've been busy and haven't had much time to clean.
Daniel stated, fighting back a cough and swatting the air to clear it. It's no problem, I calmly replied as I sat back, trying to avoid the allergen-heavy mushroom cloud. But how does what appears to be an Indian legend turn into a town of people fearing the woods?
That book
He stated, pointing at it.
contains all of the stories of the forest walkers that have been passed down from generation to generation in my tribe. I started writing them down when I was young. Got them from the elders, my relatives, and many others before they all passed. I'm the last one, and I figured someone should document this so others can know what we witnessed.
Daniel sat back in his chair again, now that the dust had settled.
Everything changed when the white man came into our land.
The white man.
first off, two things popped up. First, everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. That popped up immediately. But then, of course, you and that fucking Adolf joke, and I'm just like, oh god.
We have come to see your papers. What are all these big nose people doing here?
Oh my god.
That nose is so ugly.
You don't even sound like Adolf. I can't think of the fucking character, but that is not Adolf. But
Well, no, it's not supposed to be Adolf. It's supposed to be like a random German, random Nazi soldier. It's like, oh, these people, they have such ugly noses. I can't do a Hitler impression. My closest is Donald Trump. That's it.
Oh god.
He comes in. All these people, I've chosen to be with the fairy folks. The fairy folks, quite great. They said they want my name. My name is so good. What's my name again?
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Everything changed when the white man came into our land. First, it was one man. He was an explorer. We did not see him as a threat, so we let him pass. However, he found gold in the river. He told others. Soon, many others showed up looking for gold in the river. They brought furs, meats, beads, and guns. They were willing to trade for small pieces of land so they could live here while they prospected. We agreed. The prospectors were supplying us with new things, and we would trade in small parcels of land for them. The white people cut down trees to make the clearing in which our town sits now. They built houses. They hunted and fished. We no longer sent one of our own into the forest every full moon.
So the sacrifices stopped because you were getting what you needed from the settlers? I questioned. What about your deal with the creatures?
We lived peacefully alongside the white man.
Daniel started again.
The forest walkers were angry that we had broken our deal. They would watch us from the tree line in the shadows. Their anger could be felt. One night, silver prospectors who were fishing in the lake came home through the forest late. The walkers took one of them violently in front of the others. Their screams filled the night air. The survivors fled and never returned. They left their belongings and even their gold because they were so scared. Soon, people who were in the woods past dark began to disappear. No trace could be found.
Daniel sat up and took a breath.
When people started to avoid the woods after dark, they started to trick people into coming into the woods. They would mimic the cries of children or loved ones during the night. Anyone who ran into the woods to save them would be taken. They took 3 mothers of our tribe once because the walkers cried like babies on the forest line. The women ran to save the babies, only to be taken away. They only took one person at a time, but they started taking them more often as revenge.
So they could mimic sounds or voices? I questioned, a bit confused.
Yes.
He began, while rubbing the side of his head.
They can take anyone's voice or sound like anything that would entice you to enter the woods. The greed of gold was greater than the danger of being taken, and more white people showed up until so many had disappeared that the word had gotten out that this land was cursed. Many people left, but those who were widows and small children stayed. Everyone who lives here now is a relative of someone taken. My tribe helped them and welcomed them to stay here. It became forbidden to enter the forest at night.
So why are the people still living here? I questioned. Why not just pack up and leave this place if it's cursed?
My people made a pact with those who were left from the prospecting rush. We agreed to guard this place and keep people from the evil here. We would tell no one about this place. We had made a deal and broken it. We had put others in danger. However, no matter what we did or said, the word always made it out about the fishing and hunting or the gold in the river. People would come and disappear. Together, we would warn them, but they would disappear in the woods after dark. Once in the 60s, the group found out about the fishing and tried to build a lodge on the lake house. They're all gone. We tried to warn them, but they called us insane. It's only recently that this town and forest have gone unnoticed by the outside. There have only been a few disappearances in the last 10 years.
I've seen the foundation. I sat up in the chair as I was drawn into his stories more and more. Daniel got up and walked over to one of his filing cabinets. He pulled it open, the top drawer creating another small dust cloud. He reached inside and pulled out a black binder that was stuffed full of paperwork.
Here,
he said, mentioning for me to take the binder. What is this? I questioned, taking the heavy binder from him.
It's all the open missing person cases that I'm in charge of. They're all from here.
That's crazy, as I said, and I opened the binder. There must be hundreds of cases in here.
Some people say I am a shit detective. I know what happened to those people, but it's not something you can put on an official report and still keep your job. If you look at the reports, they all have the same pattern. These people were all last seen before dark in the forest.
I ended my conversation with Daniel, fucking finally. I'm sorry, but that just went for too fucking long. Holy shit. I felt like it was just nothing but like exposition dumping.
Yeah, it was definitely giving that.
Yeah. I ended my conversation with Daniel as he was about to get ready for work. He was working a missing persons case from 2 towns over. He let me borrow the case binder, and he let me borrow the case binder and the book of his tribe's stories. That evening, I set up a camera and a microphone on the opposite side of the fence in Diane's parents' backyard. If I could get something on tape that I might understand better what I was dealing with. I paired it with my laptop, set it to record, and left the laptop in the bedroom while I was getting ready for dinner. While sitting on the back deck after dinner, I eagerly read through the stories of his ancestors. The only interruption was the sound of a stick being dragged across the fence and the pop of the fence latch, coupled with Robert's voice repeating, "Right on time." As the sun set behind the mountain, I had forgotten about my camera at this point. That night, I excitedly discussed with Diane what I had discovered during this afternoon. "You should have interviewed the neighbors. Most of them are older and retired, so they'll be home." "I think I'll do that tomorrow," I said excitedly. The idea of having discovered a legitimate cryptozoology find that I could present to the community raced through my mind like a blazing wildfire. "Only if you take me on a fancy breakfast in the morning," Diane said with a devilish smile. "Mother and I are going to pick up some blueberries tomorrow evening to make a pie. It's her specialty. I think you'll like it." "Deal." I went to shut off the lights and realized my camera was still recording through my laptop. "Diane, let's see if my camera caught what popped up on your back gate." Diane slid across the bed as I swiped my fingers across the trackpad to remove the screensaver. The camera screen popped up, and the camera looked like it was facing up at the window on a house rather than down the fence row.
Oh, fuck?
Yeah, that's... Oh. Fae folk are getting freaky. "That's our bedroom window," Diane said quietly. I stood up and walked over to the window. I could see the power light on my camera looking back at me. Something had moved it. No one had touched it since I set it up that I could recall. I hopped back onto the laptop and rewound the capture footage. At 8:57 p.m., the camera started to wiggle, and then it violently drops at an awkward angle to the ground just as the fence was starting to be scraped. We watched and listened as the gate latched and unlocked and the gate swung open. Whatever did it was just off camera. Did you hear that?" I asked intensely. "What?" Diane replied. I bumped the audio level up and skipped back on the video. In a hissing tone, the words, "No see it," sounded. It was quiet, but clear. "What was that?" Diane asked with a quiet, shocked tone.
I fast forwarded through the footage until I saw the camera start to move. From there, an unseen figure picked up the camera and put it on the post where it was now facing our bedroom window. Our bedroom light came on, and in the background in the footage you can hear a faint giggle, like a small child would make. "John, that's creeping me out." Diane reached across my lap and shut my laptop. "Turn off the light, we're going to bed." She rolled over onto bed and pulled the covers over her body. I shut the light off and followed. The next day, after taking Diane to breakfast in the next town over, I went door to door asking people if they knew about their Savior, their Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Sorry. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Halfway through it, he just becomes a fucking Mormon, which, hold on, by the way, we really need to... Putting... All right.
I'm sorry.
Putting you in a scenario. Your boyfriend and you go to your parents' house. There's like a bunch of strange shit that everyone's talking about. Everyone believes that, like, you know, if you go into the woods after sunset, like, you know, you'll go missing. You set up a camera, or your boyfriend sets up a camera, whichever. Doesn't really matter. One of you sets up a camera to, like, see if you could, like, see if you can catch whatever's happening. And that camera gets fucked with by some ghost entity. Would your first thought be, let's go to bed, instead of, oh, hey, tell your parents it was really great to meet them. I'm getting the fuck out.
Like, okay. I'm feeling conflicted because, like, the curiosity in me is like, I want to see what the fuck is going on. But also, I'm definitely staying in the house and I'm leaving in the morning because, like, No, this ain't weird. This ain't right. This is weird as fuck.
Worst case scenario, it is some fucking crack-addled homeless guy fucking with your camera, and he's just like hiding somewhere in the woods. Or that's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario is like
best case scenario.
Worst case scenario is the Fae folk. Neither of which sound at all appealing. No, for me, it's just like, oh, hey, it was great meeting your parents, babe. You know what? I've decided I no longer want to be in cryptozoology. I think teaching kids about animals is great. Next year, we're going to the Bahamas or somewhere that isn't fucking haunted. And if you have anything else to say about that, shut the fuck up.
Now. Speak now, forever hold your peace.
No, don't even speak. This is just like we're not.
You don't have a choice. We're not coming back.
Yeah, we're not coming back. You can go back. I don't care. You can get kidnapped by the homeless guy or the fairy folk. I don't care. Not happening. Not me.
The next day, after taking Diane to breakfast in the next town over, I went door to door asking people what they knew about the forest. Many were hesitant to talk to me until I explained who I was, what I believed, and that I intended to study what was going on. Once that was out of the way, I was warmly welcomed into many of their homes. The townspeople had a wide array of stories. I wrote down as much as I could in a notebook. Their stories ranged from relatives disappearing, to hearing strange voices at night, to seeing groups of travelers go missing in one night without a trace. Many were older stories of loved ones who wandered into the forest late, or failed to make it out before sundown. Everyone seemed to believe in the creatures that populated the pine forest, but no one had ever seen one. But no one had ever seen one. One older gentleman mentioned his sister had gone into the forest on an afternoon stroll and never returned. For months afterward, he swears he could hear her voice calling every evening to him from the woods, but he dared not enter. Eventually, the voice stopped. The rest of the afternoon I dedicated to taking notes on all of the missing persons cases. I only stopped to kiss Diane goodbye as she and her mother left to get blueberries from the forest. Okay. And I didn't say this earlier. Mother and I are going to go pick blueberries. The fuck are you, 12? Hello? Why would you even say it like that? And I'm also thinking,
Mother and I are going to go pick up blueberries.
Like, wait, were y'all not going over to the next town? What? Okay, whatever.
Wait, does the town not have a fucking grocery store?
That's what I'm saying. Like, look,
like
I
not
get
even
it.
like a small family mart or anything. Like just a family-owned business. It's just like it's nothing but like old Jewish people and like a couple of like Germans. It's like, oh, yeah, we have to go to the next town over to get our groceries. And the other one's like, oi, it's just all like they're super like, stereotypical.
I gotta get my blueberries, but we gotta hurry up before dusk.
Have you met that have you met that detective yet? He's a real mensch. Detective. he's a shit detective. He's a real mensch. It's like, aren't you guys supposed to be like an Indian tribe?
Nah.
It's complicated, all right? Yeah. God loves us all.
Oh god, but like no, I'm sorry. The blueberries from the forest is crazy because like,
oh yeah,
why not?
It's like, and don't go into the forest, but let's go pick blueberries in the forest.
I mean, yeah, let's not go into the forest at night, but like I just wouldn't go in there at all.
Yeah, if it was that bad, just like don't let anybody in there. Just like put a fucking giant gate around it. Like keep out, like fucking just.
I don't know, man. I guess that's too much work.
Like dangerous animals. You don't even have to specify fae folk. Just dangerous animals. And whoever decides that they want to cross that fucking fence, that's Darwinism at that point. They deserve to go.
Not for real. Because if Winnie the Pooh decides honey isn't good enough for him anymore, please do not come crying to me.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my god.
Where are we? Oh. She had promised to be home in an hour or two. I was fine with her going since it would be several hours before the sun went down. You feel okay going into the woods after the video feed from last night? I questioned. Diane shuddered and then sighed. Nothing bad has ever happened during the day. My mother will be with me. I'm sure it was probably my dad playing a trick on us. Just come home safe to me. She smiled and closed the door. I returned to my reading. Each case had the same set of circumstances. The person was last seen going into the woods before dark or just after dark and not returning once the sun had set. Several of the cases mentioned witnesses hearing strange sounds from the woods. One case in particular mentioned that a county police search group went into the woods after dark. None returned. There was no good explanation why the people went missing. News clippings placed the blame on people getting lost in the Canadian outback, or the possibility of these people running into bears or wolves.
Exhausted after all my note-taking, I closed the binder full of cases and sat back in my seat in the living room. I breathed deeply, stood up, collecting the binder and the book that Daniel had let me borrow. The front door swung open slowly. I looked up, hoping to see Diane and her mother, but to my surprise, Robert walked in. "Hey, I didn't even know you were gone," I said in a tired tone. "Yeah," Robert stated as he took his shoes off at the door. "You were buried so deep in your reading that you didn't notice I left town. Just went out to get some gas for the mower. Yard is getting kinda long, needs to be trimmed. Keep an eye out for Diane and Mary. They went to pick blueberries in the woods and haven't returned yet." "Okay, the girls still have time. The sun won't set for another three and a half hours." I could hear slight worry in his voice. I finished gathering my things and walked to Daniel's house to return his items. When I arrived, he was sitting on his front porch, still in his police uniform with a beer.
"John?"
He said with a smile, holding a beer up in solution.
"I see you've come to return my binder and book. Did you find what you needed?"
I handed him the book and binder and took a seat beside him. "I found a lot of interesting stuff. I interviewed many of the neighbors, and I believe everyone feels like there is something in the woods. All the missing cases are similar. All the Indian stories are intriguing, but tell me something. Why are these people still living here? I understand your ancestors had a pact, but why not just up and leave?" Daniel put his beer down on the porch and sighed deeply. He raised his hands up and placed them behind his head before sinking back into his chair. Oh boy, here we go again. The Jewish Indian man returns once more.
Okay. This will sound stupid, but it has been an oral tradition and agreement of all those raised here that we would stay and make sure nothing would be built on this land beyond what has already existed. We didn't want other folks to suffer what our ancestors have gone through. Everyone here is a relative of a prospector or settler that came here many years ago. Everyone has lost someone to those woods. All those boarded buildings in town belong to someone here. They've just agreed to never sell them and let them fall into dust. Or like your fucking house. Sorry. Like,
Honestly, Christ, you have enough time to sit on your porch and drink a beer. Clean your fucking house, man. Like, God forbid a small child walks in. He's gonna breathe in once and just drop dead.
That little nigga will inhale asbestos. It is over with.
most people couldn't afford to move away anyway. Some of the houses up the street are the same way. Why give something to someone in the horrible place? We grew up here. We know what it's like to hear the noises in the night and fear for visiting relatives. If the townspeople all die off and this place falls off the map, it'd be best for everyone.
He took another deep breath.
We are the last people who will still live here. Diane's parents were raised here. She wasn't. When they are gone, the house will sit abandoned, just like the rest.
I sat in silence, trying to wrap my head around what Danny was telling me. Sure, none of the houses in the town were extravagant, and no particular person seemed to be wealthy. But how can they just live in a place that they all seem to fear? What do they look like? I asked.
Who?
Daniel replied, sitting up a little straighter, as if surprised by my question. The forest walkers, or the fairies, or whatever you want to call them. What do they look like? I have no descriptions in any of the text you gave me. The only indication of someone talking to them was your ancestors. I sat up and looked at Daniel with a stern look.
Tonight is a full moon. Only a few people have been lost in the woods during the dark in the last 10 years. They are angry. You can feel it in the air. I'm going to retire in 2 years. I've spent my life trying to find those missing people. I've been in the woods during the day. They are hard to see. They are tall and very skinny. If you look hard, you can see their outline amongst the trees. It's very hard to make out, but there are hundreds of them. They are in the woods now. They won't move until dark, but even now you can look among the tree line and see them standing still.
Wow, that's pretty fucking creepy. Like, they're just like, they're hiding in plain sight during the day, and if you look just hard enough, you can see them. That is kind of terrifying. Like, I'm almost imagining like a naked Slender Man type of deal. It doesn't really give like a description of the face, but I can only imagine it's like a blend between like a biblically accurate angel and like Slender Man, where it's like they're hard to perceive, hard to describe sort of deal. But I could be wrong. I don't know. What I am guessing is about to happen is, since God, what's her fucking name?
Diane.
Diane. Diane and her mother are gonna get trapped in the woods after sundown, and that the end of the story is gonna be like him like trying to rescue them, and maybe he doesn't get them, maybe he does. I don't know. I haven't read the story, so that's kind of what I'm interpreting here is about to happen. But who knows? I could be pleasantly surprised. If it turns down that route, I'm going to be very annoyed. Because they spent so much time emphasizing that you shouldn't be down here after sunset. They come out during the day. They come out during the night. If we should not be there, and then like if it ends with like those two getting trapped in the woods after sunset, you know what? Good fucking riddance. You know what? Go find someone else that isn't stupid.
Damn. The funny thing though is in the description, I was like, okay, have you heard of Home Safety Hotline?
No, I have not.
Okay, it's a horror game. Well, it can be seen as one, but there's an entry of like this creature, and like that's honestly the only way I could put it. But I don't remember if it's like a tree with legs or like a living bush or whatever. Actually, it's a couple of them, but this one is like a tree or like an ant. There you go, like an ant, but it's not like the big ants that you would see in like Lord of the Rings or some shit. Like they're small. And if they touch you, you're fucked.
Oh, but what do you like die, or is it like a curse?
So a tree grows out of you.
Oh, that's, yeah, I'd say that's pretty fucked. I'd say, I'm no doctor, but I would say that would probably kill somebody.
And it's very painful.
I'm also not a doctor at all, but I would also agree that it would be pretty fucking painful for a tree to grow out of you.
Oh, God. But like, yeah, if one touches you, like it's literally you're cooked. Like there's nothing you can do about it. You get your affairs in order, make sure your will is in place, because you're dying. That's a guarantee. You go to the forest in this game, and there's like a guy that's like half a tree, and his torso's still out. It's like, dude, you would not believe how painful this is. The doctors didn't tell you, but a tree growing out of you, dude, it fucking sucks. Well, at least in the game, thankfully, it grows from your head. So, I mean, you're going to feel it, but it's going to be over relatively quickly. That is a lot worse.
That would be pretty fucked. Daniel pointed towards the woods that were across the road from his house. I looked hard, but could see nothing in the pines in the fading light. I thanked him for his time and resources and made my way back to Diane's parents' house in the waning light. The sun had set, and a cool breeze blew over the road and into the woods as if the forest itself was inhaling. I walked along a broken sidewalk, looking into the dark pines to see if I could catch a glimpse of what Daniel was talking about. The moon was full and extra bright. It almost looked like day out with a slightly bluish tint. There was no noise, no bugs, no birds. Only the breeze and my footsteps filled the night air in just another 100 yards or so. John! A blood-curdling cry sounded...
Hold on, let me do this. It has to be blood-curdling, and also, I'm assuming it's a woman.
I can't yell, because I got neighbors.
I kind of don't give a fuck about my neighbors, because they're loud as shit, so it's fine.
Go ahead.
Let's see, blood-curdling?
Blood-curdling, yeah.
I feel like I just, like, peeked the fuck.
That was incredibly... I looked, and I think it hit red on the OBS recording.
Okay, well, I guess we won't get true blood curdling, but anyway.
Well, no, I'll just lower it, and I'll just lower it after the fact. It'll be fine.
Good enough.
Or I'll just leave it as a pleasant little surprise. Like an hour in, someone's ears just get ruptured. Maybe they'll know how I feel, because I'm half deaf right now.
I'm so sorry.
A blood-curdling cry sounded from just inside the forest line. That voice. I knew that voice. It was Diane. What the fuck did I tell you? What did I tell you? I knew it. The hair on the back of my neck stood straight up. My heart began to pound with a violent fervor. Diane hadn't come back with her mom when I left. What if she hadn't made it out of the woods? What if she was hurt? What if she was being taken? You wanna try again?
John! That didn't sound very good, but it's fine.
That's fine, it's fine. The scream sounded again. This time, it sounded like she was in agonizing pain.
Yeah.
The scream sounded again. This time, it sounded like she was in agonizing pain. I was in the woods 20 yards deep before I had realized what I was doing. My eyes scanned frantically everywhere, you fucking idiot. Diane? I called out. There was no answer, only dead silence. The moon was so bright, I could make out almost everything in the light that shone through the pine branches. Diane? I was breathing through my mouth now. My breaths matched the frantic pace of my heart. I stood there in silence. I looked hard at the dense pine forest in front of me. Movement caught my eye. I wasn't alone. There was movement everywhere, but I couldn't see exactly what it was. Whatever it was made no noise and appeared opaque, almost invisible. As if out of nowhere, the opaque shapes melded into reality.
Wait. I'm sorry. I need to look this up because this is going to piss me off. You stupid fucker. Okay. They meant transparent. Something can't be opaque and invisible at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry to be that person, but I'm like, that's the wrong word.
Yeah, this story, golly.
I'm sorry.
No, it's...
No. Like...
There's just, I have my own qualms with this story right now, where it's like, I mean, like, between the over explanation from the Jewish Indian man, the amount of times they stress that these things could mimic voices, and you should not go in there after, like, even near, like, sundown, and he's like already running in full knowing, he's been studying this shit for days, full knowing all this shit. He's just like, well, better run into the forest.
Yeah, he should know better. But then, like, because, okay, let's be for real. If these little fuckers are mimicking someone you really give a shit about, all logic flies out the window.
No, not for me. You know what I would do? I would call the house. I would call the house. It is modern day. I would call the house. Oh hey, Richard. Oh yeah. Is Diane and your wife there? Oh they are. Oh, the voices in the woods were the fucking fairy things all along. Oh, thank you. I was just about to run in there like a fucking moron.
I mean, you're not wrong. I would panic. I would panic a little bit, but then I'm just like, hold on, let me call real quick to make sure I'm not tweaking first.
It would be different. It would be different if he didn't know about the mimicking.
That's true. That is very true.
100%
I mean,
different.
even still, yeah, to just run straight in there. And he didn't even make it home yet, and he's just assuming as well. So yeah, no.
You see where I'm coming from, though. It's just
I get it.
You can easily verify this quickly before, like, you know, like I imagine it's like he has a laptop. I imagine he could just have a phone and just fucking
where your phone at? It ain't in your pocket.
He's one of those like, oh, I don't go out with my phone. I want to stay away from technology. Shut the fuck up. I'll smack the shit out of you.
He had his recording equipment, probably a professional fucking camera, laptop. Like, come on now.
Yeah,
you're a liar.
No, yeah, no. God, oh God, this story.
But
I mean, it's not the worst thing I've read, but God,
no. But I do just want to say this real quick, and it's funny that we're reading this. Quick plug. This is why I'm offering my services. One of them is me helping you write a fucking story so you don't do shit like this. Talking about opaque and you meant translucent. The fucking spelling and grammatical errors is kind of annoying me too. But whatever. Just saying. Anyway.
All right. Go? The plug is there. Yeah, you can go. You go ahead and take over.
Okay. They were human height. Their skin was white. They had thin legs, arms, and body structure. Their skin looked dry but rigid like a worm. Their head was large, white, sideways cones shape with no features, only a small black hole in the front. My muscles tensed as pure fear flowed through me. I couldn't move. I was awestruck and fear consumed me at the same time. Dozens of these things were in front of me. They all looked horribly the same. I wanted to run. I couldn't. One of them moved slowly towards me. 20 feet from me, it stopped. It was dead quiet. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it. The hole at the front of its head grew larger as if something was pushing out of it. Like the peeling of a sausage casing. The skin of this thing pulled back, and out of the black appeared to be a young woman's head. First off, the fuck is that description? I'm sorry, that is mad nasty. I would have preferred you say it opened and I didn't want to think about...
It had to be birthed out of the head.
I didn't want to think about either someone shitting out a large turd or someone's getting castrated for the first... Not castrated, circumcised for the first time. I was going to say, you can't get castrated.
You can't get castrated more than once.
Anyway, that's nasty.
That's pretty gross.
I could feel my heartbeat in my ears. Her hair was black and greasy looking. Her eyes were black ovals. Her skin was pale. She looked up at me. It felt like an eternity as I looked at this human head upon this monstrosity. Her mouth opened. John, her voice echoed. But I knew that voice. It was Diane's. Confusion took over. Why the fuck are you confused?
That's what I'm saying. That I just. What? Oh my god, they do that? It's just like the entire time he's being told the same free fucking things over and over again. Don't go out there at night. They like to mimic people. They're going to try to like pull you in there. He has not heeded a single one of those warnings. Now he's sitting in front of one of these like fucking eldritch entities, and he is confused as to why he's there. He's confused about everything.
He's confused as to what is going on, and I'm sitting here like, these are the type of people. He's the person in the horror film where you're like, don't go in the room, and they tell him in the movie, don't go in the room. He hears a noise coming from the room. What's in the room? You don't worry about it, motherfucker. Don't go in there.
And to go in there without a weapon either, like, at all. It's crazy work. Crazy work.
Nah, fucking, you deserve to die at that point. I'm sorry.
I hope he dies. I've long stopped giving a shit about John. I hope he dies. Fuck you, John.
The woman head on this monster twisted sideways in a horrible manner while looking at me with a blank facial expression. John. Diane's voice repeated faster and faster. Then an ear-shattering maniacal laugh echoed from its mouth. Tears streaked down my face as my lips began to tremble. It stopped. From jaw to forehead, the woman's face split in half, opening from side to side as if it had been sliced through, revealing a mass of razor-sharp teeth and flailing tentacle-like tongues. The creature shrieked. It was so high-pitched and growling that it made the forest shake and my ears ring. I fell backwards onto my back with a hard thud, and for the first moment since I saw the thing, I could move. I began to shuffle frantically backwards, kicking my legs to propel me away from this monstrosity. The creature dropped to all fours and began to rush me in the most inhuman way possible. I knew there was no way to get up and out. I knew there was no way to get up and outrun it in time. It was about to be upon me.
No! I shouted as I looked away. Nothing. I felt no pain. No creature landed upon me. John? Mom, Dad, no! A cry rang out in Diane's voice, but only this time it sounded as if it came from the direction of her home. I immediately stood up, trying to comprehend what was happening. The creatures were gone, but something in the underbrush moved violently away from me, tearing up ground and shaking branches as it went. Mary, no! It was another voice rang out. It was Robert's. I was still confused and scared, but I wasn't going to stay in those woods any longer. I ran as fast as my legs could carry me to Diane's parents' house. Robert was in the backyard, restraining Mary, who was sobbing. Let me go! Let me go! She's gone. She's gone. They might take you too, Robert replied, hugging his wife with all his force. What happened? I demanded. Oh my god, John, Robert said as he turned to me in shock. Diane swore she heard you screaming in the woods and ran after you. We tried to stop her. A scream of pain from Diane rang out in the distance. My fear and adrenaline rushed to anger. They took the woman I loved. These hideous things took Diane. Without thinking, I ran to the garage and scooped up the gas can Robert had filled in earlier that day. I scanned the garage and frantically found a propane torch on a shelf. I quickly made my way to the tree line in the backyard. Robert, hold this, I commanded as I shoved the propane lighter into his arms. I began pouring the gas carelessly onto the trees and brush along the forest line. What are you doing? He asked, with a puzzled look on his face, still trying to comfort his wife. I looked him dead in the eye and coldly stated, Give me the torch. If they want to take her, I'm taking the forest from them. He reluctantly handed over the torch I had just forced him to hold. The forest was dry. The breeze was blowing into the forest. I opened the propane valve, lit the torch, and tossed it into the bush. and tossed it into the brush. I opened the propane valve, lit the torch, and tossed it into the brush. In seconds, there was a towering inferno before me. I grabbed Robert and Mary, who were in shock at what I had just done, and dragged them into the front yard. The fire raged quickly and moved faster than anything I'd seen before. Soon the entire town was standing on the road, watching the blaze consume the pine forest they had always known. I stood silent among them, with rage in my eyes. Suddenly, inhuman screams of horror and pain filled the air. They were piercing like a knife, causing many people to hold their ears. The townsfolk held their ears tight to block out the sound. Many ran back to their homes in fear or gripped each other for comfort. The screams roared deafeningly, on and on as the fire raged, until suddenly, as quickly as it started, the screams went silent and only the blaze could be heard. Someone called the fire department, which alerted the forest rangers. There was nothing they could do. The flames spread so fast that the entire forest was burnt to the ground before they could enact a plan. I admitted to starting the fire and was arrested that night by the county police. I spent 3 days in jail, with little to no human contact. The cops moved about the office in a frantic manner, as if they were swamped with more work than they could handle. They ignored me for the better part of my stay, and only feeding me and checking in on me before night. When I awoke in my cell the third morning, Daniel was there to greet me. Good morning, I said groggily. He opened the cell.
You're free to go, John.
What? I was confused and a little shocked.
Come with me.
He motioned for me to follow him, and I stood up and did as he asked.
They found Diane.
Is she okay? Is she hurt? How? My heart was overjoyed in my confused state.
She had some burns, cuts, bruises, suffered from some smoke inhalation, and seems to be in shock, but she's alive. Get in the car. I'll take you to the hospital. I would have told you sooner, but I've been busy with everything that had been going on.
Thank God, I shouted. But wait, I'm confused. Why am I going free?
Get in the car. I'll tell you about it on the ride over.
The car ride to the hospital was about an hour. On
God
our way,
damn.
that
I'm
is a
sorry.
very long time.
Listening to that man, yeah.
Also, can we just talk about the fact that I thought he was going to go in there to try to burn, to try to fight off one of the monsters, right? But no, instead he sets the entire forest on fire instead of trying to go rescue Diane, who he has basically attempted to murder, essentially.
No, you're not wrong, but I feel bad because I'm yeah, burn that bitch down. But then I'm oh, she's in there though.
She was still screaming. He could have. I don't know, man. I like that.
No, you're not wrong.
That's
crazy.
Also, I don't know if this did kill them, but if this did kill them, and no one in seemingly, let's just call it 50 years, had never considered using fire, the oldest living weapon, against these things, and they just died because the entire forest burned down, I will be pissed.
Oh, wait. Are you a Pokemon nerd?
No.
Oh, fuck, okay. Because I was going to say, wait, doesn't fire beat plant or grass type anyway? So,
I mean, I would have to imagine. I mean, it's reasonable to believe that fire, it trumps a lot of things.
It does.
So I imagine that if this worked, it would be indescribable how pissed off I'd be if a tribe over a course of 2 or 3 generations had never considered, not even considered using weapons against them. Not fired, not firearms, nothing. They just let that shit happen. Only for this fucking waltzing idiot to just come in, jolly on his way. His wife gets stuck in the woods, and he burns the fucking forest down, and that's what kills them. I don't know if that's...
Why did you think of that?
I don't know if that's what happened, but if it is, I'm gonna throw myself off the flight. I'm gonna throw myself off the Burj Khalifa.
That's crazy. Also, why is the hospital over an hour away? I get it. This is like a small town, but y'all don't even have like a urgent care in that bitch. Like, I don't know.
It seems to be it's just farmland and like Jewish Indian people. That's it. The car ride to the hospital was about an hour. On the way over, Daniel explained to me that I was the least of their problems that the county had to deal with now. None of the houses in town were damaged. The wind blew the fire in the opposite direction. Search and rescue teams combing the forest at night early morning found Diane on the lakeshore. She was nude and in shock, but alive. The biggest issue the county had to deal with was the hundreds of skeletons found in the forest. They weren't scattered about like the victims of a forest fire would be. The burnt-out pine tree's trunk contained dozens of skeletons, as if they'd been stuffed into the trees. Daniel showed me a picture on his phone. Jesus Christ, why would you do that? Daniel showed me a picture on his phone that he had taken of one of those scenes. The photo contained a swollen-looking tree trunk that was burnt out. The inside of the trunk, you could clearly see a human skeleton, contorted in horrible fashion with a tree growing around it. What looked like wooden veins of bark fused to the skeleton as if they were growing together. Some of the skeletons had been identified by dental record as people who had gone missing in the woods from the 60s. Others were determined to be hundreds of years old.
Damn.
The coroner was now trying to figure out whom the skeleton remains belonged to and how they could have possibly been encased in the tree.
Most of my missing persons cases would probably be closed because of this,
Daniel said, breathing a heavy sigh of relief.
I've only slept a few hours the past few days because of all the paperwork I have to do on my missing persons cases.
Daniel dropped me off at the hospital, and I made my way to Diane's room. Her parents were there. She was bruised and cut up, but alive, sitting in her bed. Looking forward, jaw agape, not blinking at all. When I walked in, she turned to me slowly, not blinking. When our eyes met, she began to sob. I ran to her and embraced her warmly.
They took me, she said through heavy sobbing. They ripped my clothes and tried to put me in there.
Oh my god, it was a Diddy. It was a Diddy. Jesus Christ. They had a lot of baby oil too. Oh my god.
Where?
I asked, fighting off tears in my own while continuing to hug her tightly. In the trees. In the trees, she said through sobs. They feed the forest with us. The forest was dying and it hungered. Not another word was said. I just held her tight till her sobbing stopped. When Diane was released from the hospital, we left for home. Her parents boarded up the house and bought a condo close to where we work. It's been years since this happened. We don't talk about it. Her parents don't talk about it. Yet I'm still obsessed with whatever these things were. With the forest gone, a development company bought all the land that the town sat on cheap and turned it into a housing development.
Oh, what a wonderful fucking idea. Sure, nothing will happen from that at all.
No one has since disappeared to my knowledge in that area. Maybe not. There are some reports that...
Hold up. That means that I was right.
Mm?
That means that I was right, that he fucking killed them, and no one considered using fucking fire. What?
I ain't gonna lie. Imagine like dealing with some bullshit. Like, okay. You know, hold on. Cause like to an extent, I can see where they were coming from. We made a pact. We fucked up. Let's not commit a genocide against the tree people.
Fuck the tree people. Fuck the tree people. Burn them down. Fuck the tree people. My kids are good. Fucking kids are going missing. Yeah, no, fuck the tree people. We're fucking burning it down. Are you fuck?
They want it to be
I am
peaceful.
crashing out. No, fuck peaceful. I'm crashing out right now. Oh my fucking god! Holy shit! Fucking idiots! All right, keep going. I cannot. I'm gonna have a stroke or a heart attack or something.
Oh god. There are some reports that the place is haunted, and that at night you can still hear strange voices.
Oh
and
boy,
screams.
geez, I wonder why.
Honestly, my camera had been recording the night of the fire. Right before Diane was taken, the latch on the gate was popped by something opaque that my camera couldn't make out. The camera is then suddenly turned to the forest. My voice can be heard calling Diane's name in a scared tone. Diane can be seen running into the forest calling for me. As she disappears beyond what the camera can see, there is a voice that giggles like a small child and then states, "We take?" in a raspy high voice. The brush all around moves violently towards where Diane was last seen before you can hear her screams. I still run my cryptozoology group at the university and have never come across another story of such creatures. As obsessed as I am at trying to figure out what they were, if I ever came across another place that talked about fairies in the woods whom take people, I would probably pass on investigating those stories.
Probably the smartest fucking thing you had ever fucking said in this entire fucking story. Wow. 9 out of 10? Are you fucking kidding me? This is... You know what? I'm glad that this person stayed anonymous, because stay the fuck away from a pencil or a pen. Don't ever write anything again. This fucking
Don't
sucked
open Google
donkey
Docs
dick. Don't
or Microsoft Word.
Don't.
I'm sorry. The rating is too high, and the first comment, this was in 2020. Damn. No. Okay. Hold on. They're sorted by best.
Okay.
So the best comment. How the fuck is this the best comment? It only has 6 likes, but the next comment has 41. Make it make sense. Anyway, you can't say this was well written and very interesting, but then say the tree stuff with dead bodies was too predictable.
Yeah, It seemed to have been uploaded in 2016. It's the oldest comment that I could see on here is on April 2nd of 2016. So it's actually 10 years old at this point, which is insane to think about.
Wow.
I am forever just pile driving towards my grave as I get older.
Okay, I see someone got mad too, saying opaque means not see-through. Thank God. That was pissing me off too.
Yeah. I don't.
I take full responsibility for the bummer that was this fucking story. Okay, I can't say it was a bummer. It wasn't too bad, but the typos are pissing me off, and then like the word choice wasn't very good. Or
just the
wasn't
over
well thought
explanation.
out.
Daniel just like taking up like, what was it, like fucking 8 to 10 paragraphs of just explaining all this shit. Like I feel like there was a better way of getting that information out.
My only complaint is a few grammatical errors, but that doesn't destroy a good story. For me, it does. I'm sorry. Also, the story was not that good.
It was not. The only saving grace was the Jewish Indian people.
The Jindians.
The Jindians and the Germans that lived there. Well, yeah, I don't even think there's much to say about this.
I'm so disappointed.
Heavily disappointed. I mean, it was bound to happen. Luke and I had a great story that we read last episode, and so it did have to get usurped by something just awful.
Well, it's also my fault because I chose it, so I'm sorry.
I mean, it was either that or the The Girl the Universe Forgot, which again is a crazy fucking story title, and we'll definitely have to look at that. But I have to torture you with Baraska next. So,
That's fine. Deserved.
And like what I mean by torture is that like Baraska is just such a heavy story, but it's super great. It's my favorite horror story out of all of it. It's a slow burn, but it is just. But it doesn't in such a way that it keeps you hooked the entire time. But it's a very long story. It might be like one that I would have to do in parts with you. But yeah, that was the story, The Fairies. It was awful. There's nothing else that I could say about it. This recording has gone on for 2.5 hours, over 2.5 hours. So Vegas is going to definitely have a fit when I try to do anything with this. But if you guys did enjoy this episode, please leave a like, subscribe maybe, do all that fun stuff. And be sure to check out Fluffy Bud Novelle. Sorry, that's I'm having a stroke just reading this now. Her channel link will be in the description along with her Twitch and anything else she chooses to provide to me. God, is there anything else?
Nope.
No, I think that's it. Yeah, just like, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTuber shit. I would like to say I promise next episode won't be as terrible, but next episode is going to be one with Luke and I, so it could be terrible or it could not be terrible. Who knows? We'll see. With all that being said, I hope you guys have a great night, great day, great morning, whatever, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Goodbye.